Cool, well, the name's Rasty. I'm a graffiti and tattoo artist from Johannesburg. Been involved in the graffiti scene here for about 15, 16 years now. My love for graffiti kind of started when I was about 17 years old. I'd always been a bit of a creative kid, drawing, painting, that kind of thing growing up. And through the kind of hip-hop culture, I discovered graffiti. And yeah, just straight away knew that that's the kind of thing that I wanted to do, and that's what I love to do. I think generally I am very happy with the standard of graffiti in South Africa. It's a constantly evolving thing, and in terms of the rest of the world, we're still a very young scene. In Johannesburg especially, graffiti only really hit here and started taking off in the late 90s. Whereas you see in places around the world, they've got histories dating back to the 80s and the 70s, So, we're still at a very young stage, and we're still growing as artists. But I think on the whole, the standard and the quality of the graffiti is very good. I think for us now, it's more a matter of finding a collective style as a whole that kind of determines South African graffiti, and that you can recognize it as South African graffiti, and I think that just comes with time. But the guys that are painting and are active are doing really good stuff, keeping the quality really high, and really impressing all the international guys that come here. So yeah, I think we're making good movements forward with the style and the quality and all of that. Recently, when I was in Europe last year, I met a guy from Senegal, Doctor, who's been doing graffiti there since the 80s. So they've had a graffiti scene there, and he informed me that all over Africa, there are these little graffiti scenes. There's small scenes in Zimbabwe, Mozambique, there's guys painting, even in Namibia, Botswana, we got guys buying paint from us from all of those countries. And then the biggest struggle for most African countries is access to materials. Because, you either use the local brands that you have available to you in your country, which are often very low quality and not very easy to work with. Otherwise, you need to have international imports like the Montana cans that we bring in. And so it becomes very difficult for guys in those kind of Central African countries and stuff to access the materials. So the scene does grow a lot slower, but it's not to say that there isn't graffiti scenes in countries all over Africa, Okay, well, basically Grayscale is a platform that we started in 2007. It came about through importing the Montana spray paint from Germany that's made specifically for graffiti artists, and we needed a place to retail that from. So we found a great corner shop in Braamfontein, and we were based there for 3 years. In 2010 we moved into this new space that we have here, which allowed us to then expand into other avenues. For example, the gallery space that we have, which we use to provide a platform and exposure to young emerging graffiti artists, street artists, and guys involved in the kind of lowbrow outsider art forms that can't necessarily get into the fine art world or galleries like that. So we're able to now provide that platform, expose the art that we're involved in to a greater audience. At the same time, we can provide all the merchandise and paraphernalia that the artists need themselves, as well as 1933 classic tattoos, which is part of the same space, and that is our tattoo shop. So we've managed to get all the kind of levels and avenues that we operate on into one space, and it makes it easier for people to access it and kind of get knowledge from it.